AITAH for asking my husband for a divorce because he blames his financial incompetence on my lack of employment? Posted by u/Klutzy letterhead 359. Hello. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. My husband, 30M, and I, 27F, have been married for 7 years. Prior to us getting married, I had my own business, was doing great for myself. My husband is in the military. When we got married, he encouraged me to give up my business and be a stay-at-home mom, which I was fine with. The problem is now we can't afford the bills. He pays for the 2 vehicles we have, insurance, his phone bill, groceries, and gas. We live on base, so we don't pay utilities, and basic allowance for housing covers our home. He claims I need to get a job because we again can't afford the bills. Our bills total out to about $1,200 a month. He makes about $2,800 a month, and I was confused because he makes more than enough. My car payment is now behind 5 months, and he's claiming the financial stress is due to me being a stay-at-home mom. I had started looking at our bank account, I've never checked it before, and that's on me, and found out that he eats out every single day and spends hundreds of dollars a month on sports betting sites and Steam purchases. We have had the same argument for months, and he just won't stop gambling and eating out. He was spending so much that he started taking out cash advances in his name and my name, and that's what's keeping us in a hole at this point. My credit is ruined, and I'm not okay with being the scapegoat because he can't stop spending money. So am I the jerk for wanting out? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Not the jerk. You're going to need an attorney? This is going to sound like blaming, but I really do not mean it to. Always check bank accounts, financials, and keep an eye on bills, even when married. You should know what's going on with the family finances. Ops response. I'll provide a little more clarification on the bank thing. I used to check it. We almost went through with a divorce about a year and a half ago. When that happened, he changed all his passwords. When we reconciled, I just never asked for the new one. I definitely should have, though, and that's fully on me for not doing so. Downvoted commenter 2. You're the jerk if you think that's enough money to cover expenses. Time to get a job. Ops response. It's quite literally enough to cover our bills twice, with some left over. I'm open to constructive criticism and advice. But ignorance is unnecessary. $1,200 worth of bills on $2,800 a month. That's $1,600 left over, and bills are being ignored so that he can gamble. It is 100% enough to cover our expenses, any extra expenses, and with fun money left over if it was being managed properly. Up to another commenter. I'm sorry you feel that way. If you'd like a breakdown of the bills to make it make sense, that's fine. I also do the grocery shopping and strictly stick to deals like 4 for $5 and such. $1,200 is rounding. Sometimes, depending on grocery prices, it could be $1,400, but that's still an additional $1,400 left over. His truck is $200, my car is $375, insurance is $180, phones are about $150, which is $905. Add anywhere between $300 to $500 in groceries a month, and we're sitting at a max of maybe $1,450. Up to another commenter. I'm not sure if you know much about the military, but we receive basic allowance for housing and basic allowance for subsistence. Basic allowance for housing is additional pay towards housing on top of the base pay. So we get $2,800 base pay a month plus about $2,000 for housing. Since we live on base, it all goes towards our house. We don't pay utilities since we're on base either. Downvoted commenter 3. Not the jerk, but if you loved him and wanted to keep your family together, you could maybe offer to bail him out by working for a few months and taking control of the finances. You could tell him that in order for you to do that, there will be no sports gambling. Put phone alerts on the credit cards. Seems to me if you both focus on this problem, you can fix it within a few months. Not saying it's your fault or anything, but how wouldn't you know he's eating out for every meal? Is he taking a breakfast and lunch with him and still eating out? Ops response. He wakes up 3 hours before I do to go to work. I don't really monitor what leftovers or snacks are taken from the kitchen. There's also no if you loved him. I do love him, but I don't believe I should be expected to tolerate repeated lies and deceit either. Up to another commenter. To touch on the Steam thing, I game as well and fully understand it, so I'm not sure if the "you're a girl" comment was necessary. What I don't understand is spending an additional $200 to $300 a month that we can't afford on Counter-Strike crates in hopes he gets a rare skin to sell. Up to another commenter. I own a cleaning company, mainly focusing on cleaning freshly built homes and prepping them for move-in. We did some scheduled cleaning and move-out prep cleaning as well. So no, not a MLM company. Additional info from Op. For those saying get a job, don't worry, I am. I'm fully aware of the financial situation I am in currently, and I will be pulling myself out of it. Actively applying to places as I read this. I know my incompetence played a big role in this, and that's on me. And it won't happen again. I would also like to add, and some may not be happy about it, but I'm not willing to potentially ruin his career over this or reach out to his commanding officer. I think I'll reach out to my in-laws, amazing and supportive people, and maybe they can help him get the help he needs for his gambling addiction. One more thing, then I'm back to job hunting. Regardless of his gambling addiction, he has never put his hands on me, and I truly, without a doubt, believe he never would. He's never raised his voice to me, never spoken to me disrespectfully, and I don't want people to assume he's an evil human when he's not. He needs help with his addiction. I'm just not willing to further jeopardize my financial security. Thank you all for the tough love and understanding. It's been very eye-opening to what kind of situation I'm truly in. Editor's note. Op has 2 children with her husband, who are under the age of 8. Update 1 month 2 weeks later. Hello. It has been about 2 months since my original post, and I wanted to provide an update for those asking. Since my original post, a lot has happened. I visited my family for Thanksgiving, and when I got back, he told me I needed to get a job. I worked on finding one, but because I wasn't hired within a week somewhere, all hell broke loose. He started speaking to me in a way he never has before, degrading me, insulting me, weaponizing past traumas against me, etc. I told him finally that I was done and wanted a divorce, and this infuriated him. For days, he recorded me in my own home, followed me around insulting me, and called me awful names. He would call his best friend and yell insults about me, and sit there degrading me in front of our children. He would approach me and just antagonize me continuously until I finally had enough and told him to leave me alone. He told me he didn't have to do anything, since it was his house, and started screaming at me more. He then repeatedly told me over and over that he would be taking my children from me, and that I would never see them again, and that the courts would side with him because I've already given up one child. I have an open adoption because I had a child at a very young age and wasn't in a position to raise her. This was the last straw for me. The following Friday, I packed as much of mine and my children's necessities in the trunk of my car, packed up our pets, and I left. He arrived home shortly after I left and started blowing up my phone. I texted him and said I was leaving to stay with family until things calmed down, and our home wasn't a hostile environment. He continued with more threats of taking the kids from me and making sure I get very limited time with them. During this process, he turned into some type of religious wacko, calling me the devil repeatedly, speaking about Judgment Day, calling me evil, and telling me a judge and his attorney were going to tear me apart in court. 3 days later, I was served with an emergency order he had filed, and a few days after, I received a parentage order and temporary domestic order. Mind you, this all happened over the course of only 5 days that I had been gone. We had a court date at the end of December. During that court hearing, my ex decided to make up a bunch of lies to try to make me seem as if I was a neglectful parent and isolating them from him. He spoke to them 10+ times a day, and I never interrupted or listened in on their time. At the end, the orders were thrown out, and the court officer stated that she believed my ex's behavior was concerning after he openly admitted to verbally abusing me the last few weeks I was in the home. But my ex stated it was okay because the children didn't hear. They were in the next room over. Since all of this, I looked further into bills as a commenter suggested, stating I bet he's paying his bills and neglecting hers. Well, you were right. All of his bills strictly in his name are all up to date. The only ones he is refusing to pay are our bills with both of our names on them. He has also now taken out a total of over $1,100 in cash advances in my name since I left. I was able to log into all these accounts he made, change the password, contact support, and prevent it from happening even further. He received a bonus that all service members received last month. I put $1,000 of it towards the car to get caught up on payments, as it was around $1,900 behind. He called fraud on this payment, but thankfully I caught it in time and told the bank what was happening, since I am the primary account holder. He has since locked me out of our shared bank account and restricted all of my access. He refuses to pay off the cash advances as well, stating they are your problem now. I have since retained an attorney and filed for divorce. He made a big deal about his lawyer tearing me apart. Come to find out, he doesn't have one. After fighting me for the last few weeks, he has given up, I'm guessing because he doesn't have the money to fight me on this, and we've come to a custody agreement. I also started my business back up, and things are looking up for us now for those that were stating I needed to work. Thank you to all the Redditors for the harsh truths, reality checks, and honest opinions. I swear some of you have crystal balls and can predict the future. I never saw these horrible escalations coming, and I never dreamed that he would ever speak to me the way that he was the last few weeks I was there. But anyways, there's a small update. I'll answer any clarifying questions that I can. Thanks again. Here are some clarifying points that people asked about on the original post, so people don't have to look through the comments to find. My ex is active duty in the military. We don't pay rent or utilities. Our bills total to about $1,200 to $1,400 a month. He makes $2,800 a month. I was a stay-at-home mom to 2 children. We never had financial issues to begin with when he was making less money at a lower rank. It only became an issue when he started gambling and eating out multiple times a day. Why didn't I work? Daycare costs a fortune, and I didn't want to work just for my entire check to go towards daycare costs. It made no sense to do so. We almost got a divorce about 1.5 years ago due to him cheating. When this happened, he changed passwords to everything. When we reconciled, I never asked for the new ones. I just trusted that he would pay the bills like he always had. I was encouraged to reach out to his command. I did. They did nothing and said it was a civil matter. I then reached out to the Inspector General, who then told me the same thing. My family paid for my attorney, as I am not in any financial position to be able to afford one. /relevant comments. Commenter. You may want to report him to his commanding officer. I cannot legally, nor ethically, diagnose someone over the internet, but his behavior is raising red flags for bipolar disorder, specifically a manic episode with his risky behavior, gambling, sudden turn to religiosity, and calling you the devil. I think, but don't quote me, if you report to his commanding officer, the military may conduct an involuntary psychological evaluation, and either get him treated or discharged. Ops response. I spoke with his commanding officer in the Inspector General's office. They informed me he had done nothing wrong, and that I would need to take him to civil court over any loans and cash advances he stacked up in my name. I told them everything that has happened. They didn't seem too worried about it, though. Up to another commenter. A police report has been filed as well, though they told me it was all civil. Up to another commenter. I did and was told it's a civil matter because we're married. I was kind of shocked. But I have day-to-day documentation of everything that's happened, bank statements, until I couldn't see anything anymore, his texts admitting to taking out the cash advances, and how they are overdue, etc. Commenter 2. That's weird. Have you talked to Jag? Identity theft is a federal crime. That being said, it definitely sounds like some sort of psychotic break, so he will probably do something that will be flagged soon. Ops response. I have not spoken to Jag. I've been pointed in so many directions and contacted so many people, and they have all told me there is nothing that they can do. I'm just going to request in our divorce decree that he is responsible for paying off the cash advances, and hopefully he will be ordered to pay them off. Up to another commenter. I'm unfortunately the type that sees the best in everyone, and I'm always willing to give people another chance. I definitely shouldn't have, though. Commenter 3. File for child support and alimony. Also, did you move closer to your family, or are you still living near your ex? Ops response. I ended up moving back to my family's home for the time being.